Hey everyone, it's Average Gatsby, and I'm going to talk to you about this Mass Effect 3 teaser that just came out. If you haven't seen it, pause the video right away. Go to the Game Trailers website, listed in the description, and watch it, because I'm going to be talking to you like you have already seen this teaser trailer. Okay, so, first of all, initial impressions. Not really that impressed, because it's a teaser. You know, they don't really tell you anything about the plot, and they don't tell you anything about characterizations or what's been happening. I mean, this guy that we see right here, all likelihood, not even a major character in the game. Wouldn't be surprised at all. So, you know, we kind of already knew. I mean, I guess if you get excited by just seeing these videos of Mass Effect, that you're like, oh, Mass Effect, I love it. But like for me, I never thought like the look of Mass Effect was exciting. I loved the story, and this doesn't tell me anything. It will. Okay, I should rephrase. This does not tell me anything I did not already know about Mass Effect 3, like what was going to happen. I mean, we saw at the end of Mass Effect 2 that the Reapers are on their way, and obviously they're going to be targeting Earth. I mean, they were freaking harvesting humans. They said over and over, Earth is going to be the next target if we don't stop them here. And so the idea that Earth is being destroyed is not, you know, particularly revealing or anything like that. The only thing revealing about this video, and it kind of confirms what I thought about, or what I think the plot of Mass Effect 3 is going to be about, is Shepard leaving. You know, he sees Earth being destroyed and he leaves. And now I don't think that this teaser trailer is an actual event that will happen in the game. I think that it's more of showing, I guess, thematically what the game will be about. And it's going to be about Shepard, obviously trying to save Earth, trying to save the galaxy from the Reapers, but also about him traveling the universe and probably going to be trying to recruit an army. Because that's what he's going to need to fight the Reapers, because no one else is going to do it. You know, the formal government, they don't, you know, they've suppressed all knowledge and existence of the Reapers. He might get some backing from elements of Cerberus, but probably not the Elusive Man. Either way you went down that path, I don't think Elusive Man, you know, he might try to spin this into human conquest of the galaxy or something like that. So you can't really count on him. But you can count on the people in Cerberus, you know, the good people like Miranda and Jacob. By the way, notice he's using Metagel right there like a pro. Obviously watch my videos. Although, and, you know, if he is a squad mate, once again, obviously watch my videos if he's using that incisor. If Shepard himself was using that incisor, then, you know, it sucks. But, anyway. So, now, a lot of people have opinions on what is going to happen in Mass Effect 3. I think that's a huge understatement, actually. But I think that there is a lot that we can assume or make predictions on, not just based on this video, but based on the events of Mass Effect 2. And I've never really talked about that in my videos. I tend to talk about gameplay. But the thing I care most about in the Mass Effect universe is the story. That's why I play the game. So, let's talk about story. Well, one thing, Mass Effect is mirroring Star Wars in so many ways, it's ridiculous. Here's my prime example thematically of how everything is working out. And I'm talking about the original Star Wars movies. I don't know what a Naboo starfighter is. I block that out of my mind. My mind has been erased from those prequel movies. I've never seen a child Anakin. I've never seen it. So at the end of A New Hope, things are not resolved in the universe of Star Wars. But if they never made another Star Wars, we could be okay with that. You know, the plot of that part was finished. Same thing with Mass Effect 1. You know, it was a new franchise. They were taking a lot of risks. They didn't know how it was going to do. They left a lot of room for a sequel, but it didn't exactly scream. It didn't telegraph, you know, yes, we are making a sequel, and yes, it will go down these certain paths. So they had a lot of leeway with changes. Mass Effect 2 is much more like Empire Strikes Back in that, for one thing, the the installment makes no sense if you consider it by itself, apart from the fact that they're going to make a third game, or the third movie, Return of the Jedi. They don't make any sense if just considered by themselves. So you have to assume that there's going to be a next one. It requires it. If Empire Strikes Back was the last Star Wars they ever made, people would think that was a horrible tragedy, because they'd be like, what happens? They introduce a lot of new characters in the second installment that become very important in the third. And in the third, they don't introduce very many new characters. I know people are like, oh man, in Return of the Jedi, Admiral Akbar, he's like the best. Oh, he's awesome. Go back and watch the movie and count the number of lines he has, and tell me if he has any character besides just saying the infamous "it's a trap," and the sort of sigh when the Super Star Destroyer crashes into the Death Star, and you kind of get a sense that, hey, maybe we can win this. It's sort of like their hopeful moment, but also maybe sadness too. But you know what? I'm inferring quite a lot from a fish costume. So anyway, Admiral Akbar's popularity, that really comes from the books, and kind of comes from like the mythos of Star Wars developed afterwards, and the fans. So I think you're going to see the same thing in Mass Effect 3. They don't have time in this third one to introduce... First of all, they don't have time to introduce a new character, for you to become attached to that character, and then for the series to just end. And that's the other important point to make, is that this is going to be the last Mass Effect game in the Shepard Saga. That's what I'm calling it now. Copyright, Average Gatsby, Shepard Saga. I don't know if anyone else has called it that, but that's what I call it. So anyway, the Shepard Saga ends right here, which means the people around Shepard, closest to Shepard, are also probably ending with this game. And so I think we can, we can see that they would be very resistant to trying to make new characters as your squad mates, and other important characters in just one installment, if they're just going to get rid of them right away. And now the counter argument to that, of course, is people who compare Mass Effect. They make the comparisons like Mass Effect 2 is going to be the change that we saw from, or Mass Effect 3 is going to be the change that we saw from Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 2. And to me, no. The game was completely overhauled from what we saw in Mass Effect 1 as compared to Mass Effect 2. Completely different. And you know what? Same thing happened in Star Wars too. Huge changes to, the way that the series was going, and, what they want to talk about, and the aspects that we saw. I mean, consider what you see of the Rebel Alliance in A New Hope as compared to what you see in the other movies. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but there are no aliens on Yavin 4 when you see, Luke walk up to the podium. There are no aliens in that audience. Now, I could be wrong, and please correct me if I'm wrong. Send me a screenshot circling where there is an alien. But as far as I know, besides Chewbacca standing up on that stage, there are no aliens there. And however, by the second and third movie, it creates far more the idea that, hey, the Rebel Alliance is like, they're accepting of all races. They're accepting of all people. Unlike the racist, evil Empire. Not quite that big of a change. I would say that the changes might even be less between Mass Effect 1 story-wise and Mass Effect 2. But a lot of people are like, oh, look what they did to Liara. They totally changed her character. Oh, man, look what they did to Rex. Like, he's not even important anymore. Oh, man, they just took Ashley and Kaden completely out of the game. Well, as the Ashley and Kaden argument was, those characters sucked. So, sorry if you liked them. But I just thought they sucked. But the second thing is, Mass Effect 2 was entirely devoted to making the game about character, not about plot. I mean, the plot is interesting in Mass Effect 2, but it's not like this. It's actually not this like galaxy-wide threat. It seems that way because you're intimately involved, but no one else really has any idea of what you're doing. And I think that's going to be a big part of Mass Effect 3 is that you're going to be taking what you were doing in Mass Effect 2 as far as, you know, sort of this clandestine operation against the Reapers, and you're going to be taking that public. And it makes sense that you would keep a lot of your squad mates and your crew, because those people are going to help you, you know, build that inter-alien racial alliance against the Reapers when they come. So, you know, I just cannot see... Oh, and the other argument are people are like, oh, well, your squad mates are expendable. If they're expendable, you know, BioWare can't possibly code for all of these, you know, different situations where you would have your squad mate or whatnot, blah, blah, blah. So they're just going to have a whole new squad because, you know, if someone doesn't have a squad mate, then they'll miss out on the game. I think BioWare has made it abundantly clear that if you don't have all your squad mates at the end, you are going to miss out on the game. There are going to be straight up things that you're going to miss out on. I mean, you do miss out on quite a bit when you don't import the game. I mean, it's not like core story type stuff, but there's a lot of little things that are pretty awesome. And because Mass Effect 2 has been designed from the beginning to have a Mass Effect 3, I would not be surprised if it's far more important this time. I would not be surprised if there are like entire missions, you know, missions plural, that you are going to, like, maybe hours of gameplay that you're going to miss by not having a squad mate at the end of the game. So that's my warning to you. You know, go back and beat the game right. So, yeah, they would not spend an entire game developing these characters and making the game about character development to just throw them away simply because in the last mission people can die. I don't know. I'm just not impressed by that argument. You know, they already straight up said if your Shepard dies, you know, you don't even get to import that option. And BioWare, here's the thing. People think that BioWare games are all about choice, and they think that BioWare is far from an open world RPG. BioWare is just a hair's different than a Final Fantasy when it comes to choice. Because for the vast majority of things in the game, and Mass Effect 2 did a lot to improve, make it a little bit more open-ended, but it's still very closed. You know, the most important parts of the game are completely unavoidable. And, you know, it's not like there's wildly divergent paths to victory in Mass Effect 2. So, in fact, they like to do a thing where, and you'll notice, I mean, I noticed this because I've played through Mass Effect 2 God knows how many times, but you notice this when you start to play the game from different perspectives, when you play like a Renegade, and then you play Paragon, and then you play Neutral, and then you play variations on those, you start to notice that it's still the same game. It's still the same game. I mean, Shepard may have a different attitude about it, but it's like, it's very much a predetermined universe. You know, it's different paths, but the paths all converge at the same places. Okay, so I've kind of ranted and raved a little bit too much, and I've said, you know, basically, you know, what I think that's going to happen. You're going to keep most of your squad mates. It's going to be a galaxy-wide roundup of, you know, people trying to fight it. That scene is probably inconsequential. Earth will probably be one of the last missions of the game, and BioWare will very likely throw in enough elements to... There's going to be things that we cannot predict. There's going to be plenty of stuff that we can't predict at all. So, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry it lasted so freaking long, but I had a lot to say. So, anyway, oh, I'm going to start playing Mass Effect 2 again when the PS3 version comes out. So, get ready to see that. Alright, I'll see you guys later.